everyone! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kylie Abel and I write new adult fantasy. In today's video, I want to go over my Q1 dashboard, so how I did on my goals for the first 3 months of the year. I'll share my Q2 dashboard, what I'm working on for the next 3 months, and I also want to talk a little bit about Camp NaNoWriMo, what I'm doing there, and update you on my book bingo for 2023. So if you watched my video where I talked about my Q1 goals, so what I was going to be working on for January to March, you will recognize this, although without all the stickers. Although you might notice that it looks a little bit different. There is a little bit more on here because, of course, let me know if you guys do this, but you're on a roll and you feel like you're getting things done, so you add goals to your list, and then immediately after you add them, something happens. And in this case, at the end of February, I was feeling super motivated, like I was getting stuff done and I could do more. I think it was either the next day or 2 days after I added some things to my dashboard that I got sick and was sick for, I don't know, maybe roughly a week. I'm actually I still have the cough from it. We're almost a month later now. But that was followed up by a few weekends of being away, out of town. So it was a really bad time to end up adding goals. It didn't really work out. So a couple of the things that I added, I don't think this was here. I'll actually pop the old one up on the screen here so you can see it for comparison. But I think it was this one here, this whole section here. I think I added this, but I did actually manage to get that one done. But overall, aside from the stuff that I added and didn't touch, I'm actually pretty happy with this. There are some blank spots you'll see at the bottom. There are some workouts that I missed. This one I might actually still fulfill. Today, as I'm filming this, it's March 30th, so I'm doing it a couple days early, or a day early, just because I have the privacy. There's nobody home right now. I can film this. Whereas in the next few days, I feel like it's going to be much harder to film this like right after March ends. So I thought I would do it a little early, so those 2 spots might get filled in. But as far as the rest of it, I don't see it progressing too much further. This part here is the most disappointing of the bunch. When I did this, I didn't expect to actually complete that whole thing. I thought I would put it all there anyway. That is the revision of book 1 of my new adult fantasy series, so I wanted to complete the entire draft 2. I didn't actually expect to complete it, but I thought I'm going to throw all 30 chapters on there anyway and just see how it goes. As you can tell, I did 2. So that one is definitely going on to Q2's dashboard, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with how I did here. Also, I think I mentioned in the video where I shared this that it was Madeline James that kind of gave me this dashboard sticker idea, and I'm absolutely loving it because I find it very satisfying to put a sticker on a piece of paper for some reason. That really does it for me. So definitely I'm going to do the same format for Q2. So I will share that with you now. You might think I'm crazy because considering I had, there's quite a bit on there, and there's quite a bit that I didn't actually do. You might think that my Q2 dashboard is a little bit crazier because, as you can see, there is a lot more boxes on this sheet. Hopefully you can see that and it's not too bright. But I'm going to break it down for you what I'm doing here. So at the top of the list here, we are still working on the revisions for book 1 in my new adult fantasy series that I'm calling, well, the working title is Project Elements. That's not going to actually be the title. Over here, I want to outline the books in the series. At this point, I think there's going to be 6. That could absolutely change, so don't kind of hold me to that. But I want to outline the rest of the series to make sure, like a rough outline, to make sure that I'm on the right track with my revisions and that I'm not wasting time and that too many things are going to change later. This big one here is for winning Camp NaNo, and I'll talk more about that when I show you how I'm tracking Camp NaNo. And then that's under my writing projects heading. And then under business and learning, I have, this is kind of where it gets a little crazy, but there's a reason for it. So I've got a monthly YouTube video, which was on my last board, and I was successful with posting 1 video a month. I also have Brandon Sanderson's lecture series here. So he is a sci-fi fantasy author, if you haven't heard of him, but you probably have. And he has a lecture series on YouTube. It's actually a course or a class that he taught at BYU. And I don't know what university that is because I'm in Canada, so I actually don't know what school that is. But anyway, he taught a university class, and the whole class was recorded. So it's on YouTube. It's free for anybody to watch. There's 13 lectures. And it's all about writing sci-fi and fantasy, but specifically writing plot, characters, and world building. Yeah, I think he calls it plot, characters, and setting. So I want to take that whole lecture serious. It's 13 videos. They're roughly an hour a piece because it's like a class length. So I think that's going to be really, really helpful for my new adult fantasy series. So I figured since I'm in revisions, it might be a good time to watch that series and make sure I've kind of got all the knowledge or have additional knowledge to make that series the best that I can. So I've got those 13 videos on there. I have, and this is one of the ones that I added at the end of February. I added to my Q1 dashboard and then I didn't do anything. But it's the Save the Cat Writes a Novel. So that's this novel here by Jessica Brody, which is all about, it's a 15-beat story structure. And I thought that's another one that's probably a good idea to read while I'm in revisions to kind of make sure that I'm on the right track. Because when I wrote book 1, I was really pantsing it for the most part. I didn't follow any specific structure. Although now that I've kind of been studying structures a little more, it does kind of have a natural structure that sort of works out, but I think there's definitely some tightening up I need to do. And I want to read this book and see how it might be able to assist me in that process. This one down here is just a book that I signed up to review that I just received, I think maybe 2 days ago. So I have to read and review that by the end of April. So I've got that on there. And then the rest of this in this section here is all a part of a course that I'm taking. And I didn't intend to take this long doing this course. So I really just want to buckle down and bust out the remaining modules. There's 3 more modules with a variety of different numbers of classes, I suppose, within the module. And then I've got 3 sets of practice essays here that I need to edit, essentially. So that's why that's such a big section. It's hard to say if I will finish this. I'm definitely going to go for it. I have made a little bit of changes with my work schedule for my day job. I have a little bit of flexibility right now to leave early some days. So I'm using that time to work on the goals that are on this dashboard. So I'm hoping with that I will be able to get through all of those modules and practice essays. Without that, if for some reason that doesn't work out and things change at work and I can't have that flexibility, it would be a lot harder to complete everything on this dashboard. So I'm going to put it there and I'm going to work towards it, but I'm also going to give myself some grace if it doesn't end up working out because it's a little bit up in the air how long I'm going to be able to have that flexibility at work. And it's hard to say if it's going to... It's hard to say what it's going to look like because it kind of changes day by day based on who's at work and what's happening. So we'll see. And then as far as my kind of third goal here is just focusing on health and wellness again. And it's pretty much the same as what I did for Q1. I've got some more modules in this course I'm taking called In Love With Your Life by Vera on YouTube. And I can link her below. And then I have pretty much the same workout goal here. So the only thing I changed about this is that last time it was yoga, exercise bike, and walking outside or doing any sort of outside physical activity. This time, along with the exercise bike, I've added a HIIT exercise. So high intensity interval training is what that stands for. So I'm going to include that in the exercise bike one if I decide I want to do that instead of the exercise bike. And again, it's just doing one of each of these each week. So yeah, that is my Q2 dashboard. So both this one, sorry if you notice a bunch of jump cuts. Like I said earlier, I am still coughing, even though my sickness was like going on 4 weeks ago now. I still have the cough, and I don't want you to have to listen to me cough a lot. So I'm going to edit all of those out. So if the video seems choppy, it's because I'm trying to save your audio from listening to me cough. So this one was displayed in my bedroom. I just taped it to the wall, and I really like that because my studio, which I'm currently in right now, I don't necessarily come down here every single day. I come down here for certain things like filming and other activities, but I am not down here every day checking stuff out. So for me, I kind of want the dashboard in my bedroom because I'm in there every day. And it's going to be much more motivating to me if I can see it every time I walk into the room, and I'm walking into that room multiple times a day. And on to Camp NaNo. If you haven't heard of Camp NaNo before, maybe you've heard of NaNoWriMo, which is in the month of November. So NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, is when you try to write 50,000 words towards your manuscript in the month of November. And it's fairly strict in that you're writing 50,000 words towards a new project in the 30 days of November. There are Nano Rebels who do something different anyway, but that's kind of the rule of NaNoWriMo. Whereas Camp NaNo, which is in the month of April and July, it's like a set your own goal. So you could set a word count goal, you could set a chapter goal, how many chapters you want to write or revise. You can set a time goal for I want to spend this much time on whatever book project I'm working on. It can be writing, like drafting, revising. It can really be anything, whatever you want. So this year, I decided that I was going to do a time goal. Because I'm in revisions, it didn't make sense for me personally to do a word count goal. Because when I've done NaNoWriMo in the past, there's lots of times where I am really short on time and I'm just trying to get the words out. And honestly, it's not the best draft, but because it's a first draft, I'm like, that's fine. I just want to get the story out and keep writing. But with a second draft, the idea is to make it better. So I don't want to have that time concern where I'm running out of time, but I have to get these words done and then I'm not doing my best work. So this time I'm just doing a time goal, and it's not a very, I don't know, sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, this is a big goal, and other times I'm like, it's not that big of a goal. But I think for me, with everything else I want to accomplish, it's definitely going to push me, which is good. It's a challenge. So I'll show you what I'm doing, or what I'm using to track my time. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to work in 30-minute task blocks. This comes from HB90, Sarah Cannon's HB90 program, which I've talked about in previous videos, where you're working with task blocks. And that typically represents 25 minutes of working and a 5-minute break. Now, depending, if I'm just doing one task block at a time, I'm not going to take that 5-minute break. I'll probably just work 30 minutes. But so the goal I've set for myself is doing 42 task blocks, 42 30-minute task blocks in the month of April. So this is what I made to track that. So as you can see, I've got 30-minute task blocks. So each of these circles represents a 30-minute task block. And then I've got a line here. So above the line is 42 task blocks, which is 21 hours. And then below, I've just put some bonus ones because there was room on the sheet. And I thought, maybe I'll get some extra hours in there. And so it's just 3 additional hours. And what I'm going to fill into this, which I just realized I don't have down here right now, so I'm actually going to pause the camera here, and I'm going to go up and get the stickers that I'm using for this because they're kind of fun and I want to show them. Okay, I found them. So the stickers that I want to use for this Camp NaNo sheet are these donut stickers. Aren't they super cute? So I'm going to use those for each time I complete a 30-minute task block of either revising or like working on outline, or I guess any sort of, probably even world building, character stuff, anything where I'm like directly putting notes into my writing software. That's what I'm going to count for Camp NaNo this year. And I'm going to use those donut stickers. It's going to be super satisfying. As for the Q2 dashboard, I'm going to continue using the flower butterfly stickers that I was using for this one until I run out. And then I have a lot of stickers, but I also have some, like, I'll probably end up using some of these stars, or I have these pretty little sparkly heart stickers as well. If you are doing Camp NaNo, let me know. I would love to hear what kind of project you're working on, and also what kind of a goal you set, because I really didn't know. This is my first time doing Camp NaNo, and I really wasn't sure what kind of goals they set. So I know the time one works for me, and I mentioned it in my writing group that I was doing a time goal instead of like a word count goal, and a couple of the people thought that was a really good idea and they were doing the same thing. So I'm curious how many other people are doing that, a time goal instead of a specific word count goal. The last thing I was going to share with you is where I'm at currently with my book bingo. So I shared this, I think, in my Q1 dashboard video as well. But this year, for books that I'm reading, I created a little book bingo for how to determine what I'm reading, and to try to use up some of the books on my shelf that I haven't read yet. So there's 25 books on the book bingo. We're at March 30th today, and I currently have 5 books read. So I'm technically a little bit behind, I guess, barely, but just a little bit behind. But I do have multiple books currently that I'm in the middle of. I guess I'm in the middle of 2 books right now. So hopefully, although I'm not halfway on either of those books. So like I said, I think I'm a little bit behind, but that's okay. Summer is like a really good time for reading, so I'm not worried about it yet. This is my book bingo. I'll see if I can get it close enough for you to read some of them. So the ones that I have crossed off, that means that I have read that book. And I put a little number in the box just because down here I wrote what the actual book was and the author, because I wanted to know what book I used for what descriptor in the book bingo. So far I have done a book that starts with M. I've done a book with animal on the cover. I've done a book written by an AuthorTube author, a cover that is blue, and an author that starts with S. So those were all fairly easy ones to hit, which has me a little concerned when I go through the year that I might get down to some trickier ones where it's harder to fill with books that I already have. Because I have so many books on my TBR. I'm looking at like 4 shelves right now on my bookshelf that are all books I haven't read that I own. So this was really in an effort to try to find books on there that I could use instead of buying new books in. Hopefully I picked some kind of descriptors that will help me do that. I think that is it for today's video. I just wanted to do a quick update, let you know how I did in the first 3 months, let you know what I'm doing for the next 3. I would love to hear your goals for Q2 if that's how you plan. I have found it really helpful to plan in 3-month sections instead of trying to make... I do have yearly goals, but it's easier to break it down into 3 months because things change so quickly. I mean, like I said, even at the end of February, I was already changing my goals, or at least adding to them. So I don't want that to happen again, but at the same time, there's some stuff going on right now that might add to that. I don't want to mention any details at this point because it's early stages, but there could be another book project in the works. Very, very early stages. I have a video call this weekend with somebody to chat a little bit more about it, and we'll see how that goes. So it's possible that I will add to Q2 goals at some point, or Q3 will look very different. But you'll have to wait, I guess, till the end of June to see that dashboard. So good luck on your Q2 goals. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are doing awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!